The 2024 Genesis GV60 has already been introduced to you in a classic review with a test drive, and today we want to follow up on that by taking the Genesis on the highway to see what the consumption is at 100, 120, 140, 160 km/h. We want to do the charging check with you from 10 to 80% to see if it actually beats the 18 minutes factory specification. And we want to talk to you about travel comfort, focusing on navigation and assistance systems and determining whether they are indeed the perfect solution for making long trips more pleasant and stress-free. I would say you should check if you are already part of your electric community. If not, we'd love your support with a subscription. And now let's hit the highway with the Genesis GV60. We set off and reached the A20 highway. We're currently heading northbound, which means we're on our way to Stralsund-Greifswald. Just so you know, as a starting point, we have the Genesis GV60. With a sport package, meaning all-wheel drive, 160 kilowatt electric motor on the rear axle, 74 kilowatt electric motor on the front axle, AWD altogether 318 HP, 605 Newton meters of torque, 5.5 seconds from 0 to 100, and top speed I believe is 200 km/h. We'll try everything out, or rather, we've already tried it out for you in the review with the driving report. If you missed the video, first check out the review with the test drive, because we're basically connecting to this video with the Genesis. Yes, 24 degrees. What kind of tires do we have, Stefan?
2.5 tires on 20s.
Excellent. I've locked the adaptive cruise control to 100 km/h. Naturally, we don't want to waste any time, so let's go ahead and reset the onboard computer, and then we can monitor and see how it performs over the next 20 kilometers of our journey. What's the fuel consumption rate of the Genesis GV60, especially with the sport package? When averaging approximately 100 km/h. A good electric car in 2024 should definitely feature route planning, ideally with integrated charge planning for seamless travel experiences. Let's go ahead and test that with voice control. Drive us to Munich to the Viktualienmarkt.
Shall we set this goal now to ensure we stay on track?
He's doing that pretty smoothly and quite quickly, so it seems there's a pretty decent processor behind this particular device. But it doesn't do the charging planning the same way we're actually used to from the Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, or the Kia EV6. That means we basically have to search for the charging stations here by ourselves and then add them manually into the system. I know that some of you don't really care about this because you're like, oh man, we have such an extensive and comprehensive expansion of the DC charging infrastructure, I don't really need to worry about it. I just think that 2024 is somehow part of it.
Yes, actually, it's more like state of the art nowadays.
And just like I've read some Genesis customers in the forums, they are desperately waiting for it. Genesis promises 5 years of over-the-air updates, but the update isn't coming, right?
Apparently not.
Feel free to write in the comments if you have any other information or if we have a setting error here. Look, Stefan, we also have augmented reality here in the navigation. I think it's really well done with the front camera.
Totally stylish, yeah.
So in that sense, I might have wanted all this in the head-up display, but it's pretty nice like this too, isn't it?
Yes.
We have a first consumption value. Yippee. We drove 21.3 kilometers and had an average consumption at 100 km/h of 16 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So let's not forget, we have an SUV here with a height of 1.58 meters. Seiski, we have a drag coefficient of 0.29. There's an all-wheel drive system, 160 kilowatts rear, 74 kilowatt front axle. I have to say respect, right? That's already full value. It's not too bad. Yeah, I'll accelerate straight up to 120 km/h. We're resetting the onboard computer, and now our goal is to drive the next 20 kilometers, ensuring we gather all the necessary data for our analysis during this drive. What do we consume at an average speed of 120 km/h? Do you have a tip, Stefan?
Well, I'd estimate it's around 18 to 500.
Our test subject, the Genesis GV60, has many assistance systems, but you need the technology package for about 3,000 euros. This includes Highway Drive Assist 2, adaptive cruise control, and an enhanced lane keeping system, which together improve driving safety and comfort significantly. These features ensure a smoother, more enjoyable driving experience, which we also know from the Kias and where you have the lane change assistant, the steering assistant, the lane keeping assistant, and the blind spot warning. Additionally, on board here is a head-up display. Installed. which essentially means you can pretty much drive relatively semi-autonomously and comfortably on the highway. When a change in speed occurs, you can also choose to initiate an adaptability response. That means on the highway, you also have the convenient option to adjust the speed to the prescribed limit and then ideally return to the originally set speed afterwards, ensuring a smoother and safer driving experience overall. These are things you should actually be able to expect from a premium SUV in 2024, right?
I think so too, yeah.
But not with all manufacturers. Of course, even when we're driving a nice left turn here, it keeps nicely to the middle of the lane. No jerking or tugging at the wheel. Genesis has reached a top level, which is truly impressive given today's highly competitive market and their rapid progress. So it's a real joy to travel here with the help of semi-autonomous assistance and just relax and feel at ease. I gotta say, there's nothing better than having an awesome sound system, right?
Yeah, just being out on the track, it's always such a great deal of fun.
I mean, Bang & Olufsen costs another 1,100 euros more, I think, from memory. But it makes for an awesome spread of highs, mids, and bass, right?
Absolutely, yes. Nice sound.
And I think we also have an awesome range for consumption.
Yeah, I see it from the corner of my eye.
Yes, we've already covered quite a fair bit of distance here, specifically 20.7 kilometers to be precise. Consumption spreads a bit. It's now 21.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, indicating a slight increase in efficiency. So now he's really taking a substantial sip from the battery, right? Yeah.
That's when the all-wheel drive really becomes noticeable.
Yes, I would definitely say we might even be able to top that by going all the way up to 140 kilometers per hour right here. Accelerate with all of you. Then we will reset the onboard computer together, and now over the next 20 kilometers, we want to accurately find out what the Genesis GV60 consumes. When driving at an average speed of 140 kilometers, you know, driving in semi-autonomous mode is really quite nice, right?
Yes.
Sure, but Genesis means well and has included the Nappa leather package for us here for a good 3,300 euros, where everything is really covered with the finest Nappa leather, but it also includes the beautiful premium package here within the sports package, and of course that comes with the Ergo Motion seats.
Oh, that's why you're feeling so relaxed here.
Yes, I arranged for a very nice intensive full body massage here for myself, and I have to say it's really exceptionally high quality and worth every penny. This is not just some kind of inflatable pillow that you might know from the past, but it almost reaches the level of a BMW i7 or a Mercedes EQS.
Nice.
And I have to say, combined with the light seat ventilation, it's something you can treat yourself to. So seat heating, seat ventilation on top, that really makes it enjoyable. Actually, I'm sitting here, I'd say, better than at home in my TV chair. It feels so cozy and first class.
I can only agree with that. I mean, the seats are really nice and comfortable too. They're genuinely nice. The suspension is impressively well balanced and responsive. You can manage it comfortably.
But there's one thing he can't do now driving.
Well, what is it?
TV channel to TV channel.
Oh, I see. Well, that's of course again.
Is it that time again?
Yeah.
Ah, yes, we covered a distance of 20.4 kilometers, or actually 20.5, and we had a consumption rate of 26.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers.
Such an increase, it remains consistently active, right?
If we calculate that up to 74 kilowatt hours net, we definitely won't make 300 kilometers at a constant speed of 140.
No, not really, no.
But let's be honest, 300 kilometers is quite a drive, and you'll be on the road for some time. You want to grab a coffee, take a bathroom break, and if you could quickly recharge here with the 800 volt technology, that would fit again, right?
Yes, then that's fine. Those are the stints where you stand, keep them short.
I think we should make use of the time. I'll switch to sport mode and really push the pedal to the metal here. We want to reach the absolute top speed with you, which for this small four-wheel drive vehicle is supposedly a modest 200 km/h. And see how it performs under such conditions.
Yes, and he mirrors the impressive speed we were hoping for.
Yes, it packs lots of punch and delivers great pull. We're cruising smoothly at around 207 km/h, 208, and there's surprisingly little wind noise for this speed, which is quite impressive indeed. So the car is excellently insulated. I hope you've seen our review with the driving report where we measured the interior noise at 50, 70, and 100 km/h, and where the car really impressed us a lot. Yeah, I'd say let's make a U-turn here and then go ahead and measure 160 km/h in the other direction as well to see how it performs from the other side, okay? What do you think? Yeah.
That choose us later.
And we also want to quickly take the highway exit with you guys. We often do that in our tests at around 80 or 90 km/h to observe how well the vehicle performs. Nothing squeaks here, nothing tugs here. He's really pulling through, isn't he?
Yes, especially the tilt ring. No, not at all.
Right? Heights at 90 km/h. We can accelerate too. It doesn't bother him either. Now he's starting to squeak a little. We don't want a companion here either. Well, I have to say the suspension is firm yet feels comfortable and stable in the curve for an SUV, which is quite impressive. Function well here in sports mode. We need to be careful not to drive too fast. It's only 70 here, but I have to say I really like it, you know?
That's fun, yeah, you can definitely do that too.
We've accelerated the adaptive cruise control to 160 km/h, and now we want to reset the trip computer for more accurate driving data and better insights as we drive together. First and foremost, big kudos to the fact that all functions, including lane assist, lane keeping assist, and lane change assist, are green and working smoothly at 160 km/h. Bravo! Excellent! There are some manufacturers that limit their cars to 130 km/h, even though the technology is because it can do much more. Think about BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, which I believe solve it up to 210 km/h and faster. So big shout out to Genesis, because sometimes you just want to enjoy a stint at 160 km/h. Yes, of course, we'll drive it at an average speed now and then show you the consumption after 20 kilometers. Isn't it nice that in Mecklenburg, even in peak season, you can still enjoy a peaceful day? Drive 160 km/h non-stop for over 20 km, yes?
Just think, we would have to do it in an urban area again. We'd die all over.
Terrible. I really have to admire the people in North Rhine-Westphalia who managed to get from A to B during that hectic rush hour.
Oh God, yes.
We're really quite comfortably set up here. So yes, let's go ahead and move on to discussing the next consumption value. We actually drove a total of 21.7 kilometers at a constant speed of 160 km/h and measured the consumption of 34.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's already pretty decent if you consider it, but I can tell you there are very different contenders out there. Consider the Sweden faction.
There's a 4 right in front.
Exactly, or even other big bulky SUVs. So from that perspective, I have to say it's still somewhat tolerable. Yeah.
That's okay.
I would say you should take some time to compare the obtained views in our detailed tables with those of the other vehicles that were tested. I'm quite curious to hear what you think about the Genesis GV60's fuel consumption. I'm really starting to become a huge fan of Genesis, yeah.
I can feel it, I can feel it.
Look here. Drive up to 180 km/h with the steering assistant, lane keeping assistant, and lane change assistant, ensuring your safety on the road.
Wow.
That's really good. Those are some genuine Korean style improvements, aren't they?
Definitely.
I'd be really happy if that could eventually make its way into all electric vehicles, because 180 km/h is quite a nice speed, right? Yeah.
It's also quite a nice travel speed, exactly.
The only thing that's a bit abrupt is the radar sensor. When we're following approaching cars, it brakes fairly quickly, sometimes more than needed, which can surprise us. I was wondering why he didn't brake just now. I've noticed that when 130 km/h isn't set on the adaptive cruise control, it can be unsettling and make the car behave unpredictably, which I really don't appreciate at all. Then you also don't have access to the automatic speed adjustment system.
Okay.
So that means he just didn't recognize the traffic sign. I have to push the pedal a bit harder. Now we're at 80. That's already bad. That means the traffic sign recognition is, well, I would say mediocre at best. Here is 80, it's still showing free. Here is 80, and now it displays 80. Okay, that's interesting to see.
He recognized it now.
Sure, he does that on the second damage.
But the 120 and 100, he used to completely ignore them.
Yeah, I have to say it's suboptimal, and what's also suboptimal is I might want to drive at 120 constantly, and then I won't be able to use the adaptive speed adjustment.
That's not so nice.
So I believe the Genesis still has a few areas for improvement here. other than that, I think it offers enough power with the small all-wheel drive. You can really feel the 605 Newton meters, even at higher speeds. It pulls through well again to its top speed of around 200 km/h. I believe that's genuinely quite nice for the time being. Don't you also think so?
Absolutely. It's fun.
There's a catch though. The test car here is priced at 75K and a bit.
Yeah.
So we need to see if there are attractive leasing and financing options, because for 75K, mom would need to be knitting for a long time. Even though she's getting a lot for it here, you have to admit that.
Right.
Let's move on to travel comfort. By the way, it still shows 80 km/h even though it's in neutral.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so he's got his own road and traffic sign recognition somehow.
Very good. That's exactly what you now need to clearly and thoroughly explain to each and every colleague who does comply. Let's see how long it lasts.
Yes. Anyway, I'd like to have another detailed talk with you about the various aspects of travel comfort. For around 770 euros, if I remember correctly, you can get such a predictive suspension system. So where the Genesis, it also has this feature, detects if there's a bump, a manhole, an unevenness, cobblestones, who knows what, to prepare you as best as possible with the damping. I must say, the car has the European firmness we desire, but when it hits a bump or rut, it handles it effectively, maintaining comfort and stability, ensuring that the ride remains smooth and balanced even on uneven surfaces. Through I don't know what, then he does it smoothly, so he doesn't do it softly, like you might know from the EQS, where it dampens it in an extremely comfortable way. He makes it so easy. Comfortable, I don't even know how to describe it. This is absolutely brilliant. I can't even remember the last time I sat in such an incredibly awesome, smooth and comfortable suspension. It's truly fantastic because, you know, I'm a terrible driver. I'm actually sitting here like at a dining table, so an SUV, with all due respect, isn't really my personal world. But I think he just does it well.
He's doing an outstanding job.
And, you know, earlier through the long extended curve, like at 90, 100 km/h, it didn't rock back and forth at all.
A swaying motion even during the switch, what we had open. Nothing at all. He really takes it easy.
It shows 120, but it's actually only 100.
It's likely his own carefully crafted plan, you know?
Yeah, Genesis, it certainly is. We have now actually arrived at the Demmerland rest stop and want to perform the charging check from 10 to 80% with you all. Here at Ionity, we always get the full power per station without fail, and I'm really excited to see whether it meets the factory specifications of 18 minutes, don't you think? What do you think, Stefan?
He can do it. I'm optimistic today, so he'll make it.
Very good. We have reached 12% with Ionity, and it is building up a nice tension here in the 800-volt system. And it goes straight up to over 200 kilolov. I read somewhere that it is capable of going up to an impressive 270 kilolov, but we always had around 235 or 238 max with the Kia and Hyundai, despite their advertised higher claim. But that's a decent value. And that's also the advantage of having these 800-volt systems. There's even the Lotus Emea, capable of delivering 399 kilowatts, which is significantly more than what an Ionity station can provide. At the moment, it's only possible to charge at a peak capacity of up to 350 kilowatts. Yes, we always take advantage of the free kilometers provided by InCharge for charging. I highly recommend checking it out online or in the app at your earliest convenience. There you have the opportunity to reward your purchases with free miles through affiliate links. You can rate these charging stations, you can participate in challenges, and so we have already charged over, I think, 40,000 kilometers entirely for free. Stefan, what do you think about it? So if you're interested in InCharge, feel free to check out the video description. Transparency is absolutely essential. To give an example, I've already managed to charge up to 45,391 kilometers for free with InCharge. So you can do that too if you just do some online shopping. Maybe also encourage a few friends to join, as I do through the video description, to join InCharge. There are also a few more kilometers on top of that, so it's all realistic because I don't shop online anymore, like you probably do, right?
After 5 minutes, we have recharged 19%, and with 231 kilowatt, we've already added 16 kilowatts of energy. Let's keep this up.
Well, it's just briefly hit 237 kilowatts for a moment. We are now at 46% with 8 minutes of charging, a solid 28 kilowatts of energy. Now that's impressive. That's exactly how I imagine modern electromobility, ideally even faster, like with the latest innovations, similar to more expensive cars, for example, the Porsche Taycan, which boasts large batteries with a net capacity of 97 kilowatt hours, can even recharge from 10 to 80%, or I believe even from 5 to 80% in just 17 minutes. Xiaopeng can do that with the G9, I believe, in a similar time frame. So there's still a lot of room for improvement, but it's better than what we had before. It represents a significant step forward in the technology available to us. 45 minutes of overtime at BYD and such.
Fire on. Always this trauma again.
Yeah, we can stay here, Stefan, because I think we'll hit that 50% mark soon if everything keeps going as it is. So see, we are now charging at 189 kilowatt. It has gone down a bit, let's allow it. We also want to do at least a bit of battery conservation. 9 minutes, 12 to 50%, 32 kilowatt hours recharged. So I believe we might be able to get more and more people to switch from combustion engines to electric vehicles. Well, let's be honest, filling up an 80-liter tank, how long does it take with paying and all that stuff?
Like 6-7 minutes.
I guess. Yeah, at most. The charging break is also the perfect moment to take another detailed look around the 2024 Genesis GV60 together with you and discuss some of its exciting features. Yes, we have it in a beautiful Capri blue, but after the highway drive, it's less pristine with a few flies and insects on it. It's normal for a car to pick up bugs, especially going fast over long distances. Looks nicely speckled, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, nice pattern.
What I really like about this is the LED light here. The base is full LED high and low beam function, and then with the technology package, I believe it also includes adaptive headlights, which then also form matrix-like functions. Included in the sports package are 20-inch rims, which you can get in anthracite, gray metallic, or here in silver. I really like the 255, 45 R20 tires as an option. Then there's also the brake caliper in bronze. I think it's 330 euros. And now we have such a beautiful multicolor. We have the Capri blue, we have glossy black, we have a chrome strip right here with the V for Volt that elegantly goes over the windshield and around the car. And right here we have these bronze silver colors, which are quite typical for SUVs. Then also the separation. But I have to say, this also looks very, very premium and well made. The cherry on top is the coupe-like sloping line at the back, starting from the C-pillar. We have a very, very nice elbow bar here. Stefan says, yeah, it's also a great burger bar because you can easily, at our size, enjoy. One can definitely eat a burger here. It certainly adds some noticeable pressure. It's carefully placed on the sheet because you can see through here. Here the disc continues. And back here again, the Genesis logo. It's kind of got a Bentley-like feel to it, doesn't it?
It's okay. Yeah, they share a tense, uneasy memory.
Well, there's a 360-degree camera on board, and we have 463 liters of trunk volume, which can be increased to over 1,500 liters when you need the extra space. Feel free to check it out. In the review and the test drive for all fans of Frank, we also have 20 liters for a charging cable on board. The battery seems to have reached its thermal limit. It has throttled the charging station output to 32 kWh through the vehicle's battery management system, BMS. We also know that from Hyundai and Kia. I think it's even up to 5 kWh or so. To cool down, catch our breath, and avoid damaging the battery pack, which is essential for safety and efficiency. Does that affect the loading time? Supposedly yes, because we're at 66%. We have now been charging for 15 minutes, achieved a solid 45 kilowatt hours, and we'll need 3 more minutes for the rest. We're really looking forward to a pleasant and positive surprise, and I have to say, we do have a rather decent wind blowing here now. We have 24 degrees, so what will it be like when we have 35 degrees in peak summer, right? 80% from 12 to 80 in just 24 minutes, which actually is 6 minutes over the factory spec time. Absolutely. We've recharged 58.5 kilowatt hours. We don't actually need to wait until 82% to get the full 70%, but we're doing it anyway. At least he's still charging at 124 kilowatts, 82% after 25 minutes. We've added 29.9 kilowatt hours. Yes, that's just 7 minutes longer than the factory specification, and I think we actually had decent conditions, right?
Yeah, sure, just those 2.5 minutes while he was down there. But otherwise, it's good. Yeah, really.
Let's move on now to the conclusion with the Genesis GV60. In a comprehensive review with Fabric, we thoroughly showcased the entire car along with its various features. We took a test drive with you, showed you the consumption rates, and recently also did the charging check. And I have to say, that's probably the only disappointment.
Yes! Until he didn't make the 18 minutes, yeah, that's kind of Absolutely.
No, that's a real disappointment because I don't buy a car with 800 volt technology starting at 54,000, our test car for 75K, and then have normal good summer conditions and just can't make it 18 minutes. Dude, I gotta say, I don't have the balance for that. If it were 19 or 20, whatever, 10%, good for him. Maybe he's 10% faster, 10% slower. But 7 minutes, sorry, but then you've got the Volkswagen with its 400 volt technology. With the same battery size, it's still also at around 26.7 minutes.
Above all, what conditions do you need to manage charging in those 18 minutes? Sure, the battery was so hot and that's why it basically stuck at 30 kiloloss for 3 minutes. You can't really...
No, so I would say that, in my opinion, electric cars are simply too expensive to tolerate any major discrepancies in performance or reliability. And we scrutinize every car that takes over 30 minutes, raving in every video about the 800 volt systems from Kia, from Hyundai, which managed to do it in 17, 18 minutes. And then we have a Genesis, which is considerably more expensive than a Kia or a Hyundai, and then it just fails. Yeah. I'm just saying, we have 24 degrees outside, cloudy skies. For that reason, I have a proper thermal management system in place. The battery preconditioning was activated. The car's thermal settings were perfectly managed, avoiding overheating. Let's not dwell on this, as the car is otherwise truly great and offers an exceptional driving experience. Especially here with the material mix with the Napa leather package, it truly becomes a premium car, which I think comes very close to the luxury class. The ride comfort is fantastic. Sure, when it comes to highway drive assist, we might wish for 1 or 2 additional features or perhaps better control, so that even outside, when I set it to 130 km/h on the highway, I also have speed adjustment. Those are just nuances, but I'm expecting Genesis, just as Hyundai and Kia have improved in our Kia, to finally include the charging planning here too. It can't be that people buy something that's announced to come, but then somehow it's just not there when expected.
Ja, und wirklich gesucht, muss man dazu sagen. Ja?
We've gone through all the menus. The car is connected with Connect services. I have it in the app. The Genesis app is also okay, just designed a bit differently than the Kia app. Everything's totally fine, but it doesn't work. And I gotta say, people buy it. They then pay their monthly installments for it. And then they also have a right to receive this service, I think. So I might feel sorry for Genesis at that moment, but we're on your side. And of course, we'll work hard to ensure that the things you get announced and promised truly exist and come to fruition in real life, as we all hope and expect. And I would say, well, we're here in July 2024. We're not talking about 2023 or 2022 or late 2021, when the car was announced, then came to market in 2022. We're talking about July 24th. And in the end, probably, even though Genesis hasn't revealed anything yet, hasn't leaked anything yet, at some point we'll also see a model refresh.
Yes, it will come.
So I have to explain and clearly outline what the car can do and what it can't under certain conditions. Well, otherwise I have to say, these Emotion seats are awesome with the seat massage. It's great. Seat ventilation is great. It remembers that I had it on earlier and turns it back on. So, this approach to the tailgate, that it opens automatically without a foot kick, without pressing a button, is awesome. This intelligent tailgate function. So there are also great features included here. So unfortunately, we have to admit that it's really not the perfect electric car that we hoped for, right? No?
But almost.
I think we won't find it anymore, right?
I really don't believe so either.
And with that, we've now reached the end of today's video. I sincerely hope you really enjoyed it a lot. Please give it a thumbs up and check once again if you're part of the einfach elektrisch community. If not, we'd be happy if you support us with a subscription. That way, you won't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy and see you soon. Yours, Ollie. You, Stefan. Handy to have a counter like this, right?
A nice snack bar.
Enjoy a refreshing after-work beer when you get home and can relax.
Have a nice chat with the neighbor again. Yes.
Actually, it's really not that bad ergonomically, right?
Looks totally awesome.